From Paul's letter to the church at Ephesus come these very few words. It's a rather short passage from Ephesians 5, but it's all about that theme of darkness and light. For once you were darkness, but now in the Lord you are light. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light is found in all that is good and right and true. Try to find out what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. For it is shameful even to mention what such people do secretly. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, for everything that becomes visible is light. Therefore it says, sleeper, awake, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. So ends the reading of God's holy word. I invite us to pray. Gracious God, through the gift of abundance in this congregation already this morning, many examples of light have been given. Empower us, literally empower us to be those lights, to continue to offer that hope and love and faith to the world. In reflecting upon this passage, may we be encouraged to do so. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Well, in the movie by the same name, Forrest Gump was forever being ridiculed for being different, or slow, or stupid. And if you've seen the movie Forrest Gump, you know his eloquent reply to such taunts. He would say, "Stupid is as stupid does." Well, Forrest pretty well pegged today's passage. People can say whatever they want, but how do my actions speak? Am I shedding any light? Many years ago, when I was a kid, we went up to the Rochester Museum and Science Center, where there was an exhibit on energy. And I remember absolutely nothing about the trip, except that there was this really cool gizmo up there that had a large light bulb on it with a crank on the side of the box. And the challenge was to make the bulb glow as long as you could. I remember Alan Blowers could do it better than anyone else. He was a farm kid from Hopewell. Now I think he has a couple of PhDs. I came home with a much greater respect for the lowly 60-watt light bulb and a sore arm. Light is a funny thing. I think as human beings we are deeply ambivalent about light. We love it and we hate it. We pay a good buck to go sit in a tanning bed for half an hour or more in the middle of winter to lose our upstate pallor. And yet, then we grease ourselves up with SPF 147 in the summertime to make sure we don't get burned. We spend thousands of dollars a day or an hour to light up our ski resorts and our tennis courts and our football stadiums, and yet we fret about leaving the light on in the kitchen overnight. A part of us wants to live in the light, embracing honesty and transparency as aspects of light. And yet, when it comes down to it, with April 15th looming closer, we'd rather have our neighbor be honest and transparent, or maybe our elected officials. It's as though we'd rather shine the light than maybe be in it. Because light exposes a lot. One of the reasons I don't do FaceTiming, probably the main reason, is because with FaceTiming, usually, I don't know the technology well, but usually you're kind of forced to look at yourself, at least in the corner of the screen, when you're talking to somebody else on the cell phone. And my understanding is, in terms of the origins of FaceTiming, that it was initially designed by and for college kids. No kidding. Who else would want to look at themselves? What a ruthless instrument of torture. Way too much of my mug. So for my money, I'd rather send a postcard. Thank you very much. It's a lot slower, but it's a whole lot prettier. It can be very hard to look at ourselves. And it can be hard to be subjected to the intense light and the scrutiny that light allows. I know I've used this illustration before, but it's too much fun. I'm amazed at the lighting options that people will pay good money for over at Lowe's. Just in the bathroom section. There are lighting assemblies of such intensity that you can not only put your makeup on, you can cook your bagel. I can't handle that much illumination in the evening, let alone first thing in the morning. But folks buy them and they install them and they love them. You live to tell about it. I love spring and the increased daylight that it allows, and the way it kind of fosters our fantasies about the perfect bell pepper or cucumber or tomato. But for all the goodness of spring light, and I think this is a pretty easy illustration today, light alone won't do it. We also need warmth. It's true for peppers, and I think it's true for human beings too. Light that is not tempered with warmth, maybe the warmth of humility or kindness, doesn't really work real well. Case in point, I'm sure all of us have had this experience of having this priceless nugget of wisdom we simply had to dispense with somebody. I know I've done it. Listen, I just got to tell you this. It's for your own good. And I've learned the hard way that the more obsessed I am with sharing my truth with someone, the less it's probably for them and the less good it is too. We want to share the light. And there, of course, are obvious times, appropriate times to share the light, to maybe offer some advice, maybe sometimes even insist. For example, if someone's driving up and down the road, weaving back and forth, maybe on the wrong side of the road, empathy may not be the best response. We don't do well to pull up alongside the vehicle and mirror it. Better to call Bob. Hopefully have the behavior stopped. But in so many other instances, there is incredible power in pulling alongside someone. Figuratively speaking, listening deeply to their struggle, sharing maybe our own, believing firmly in the light within them. Maybe it's a light that only God can see at the moment. Sharing the gift of light might be likened to inviting someone to step out of the darkness of whatever cave they happen to be inhabiting at the moment. Offering them a little warm light of friendship on the outside of that cave. But that's very different from firing up an industrial floodlight and shining it inside the cave. Jesus is continually calling us out of our caves, but calling, not dragging. The intoxicating thing about caves is that they're so warm and cozy, even if they are dark. And we want to stay there. And we're about as inclined to leave them as a black bear is to leave its cave this time of year. And chances are, if somehow we are dragged out of our cave, we'll run back inside really quick anyway. But it's a whole different matter to be invited out. To peer out of our cave and see someone outside warming themselves by a delicious dancing bonfire of friendship. That kind of light can be darn near irresistible. Of course, it goes both ways. We too need to be open to leaving our caves when the light of love is shining nearby. Paul speaks about light a number of times in the New Testament. In another place in Corinthians, he says, "We see now through a mirror dimly, but then we shall see face to face." Well, I want to share a story of a couple that wished they'd seen the light a little better, a little sooner. Mike and Yvonne were 85 years old. They've been married for 60 years. Though they weren't rich, they got by because they carefully watched their pennies. They were both in fairly good health, largely due to Yvonne's insistence that they eat healthy food and exercise regularly, particularly for the past decade. Sadly, one day their good health didn't help when they went on vacation and the plane crashed, and they found themselves in heaven. They reached the pearly gates, and St. Peter escorted them inside. He took them to a beautiful mansion with a fully stocked kitchen and a waterfall in the master bath. A maid could be seen hanging up beautiful clothes in the closet, and they gasped in astonishment when he said, "Welcome to heaven. This will be your home now." Mike asked St. Peter, "How much is this all going to cost?" "Why, nothing," Peter replied. "This is your reward in heaven." And Mike looked out the window and saw a championship golf course, finer, more beautiful than anything ever built on earth. "What are the greens fees?" he muttered. "This is heaven," St. Peter replied. "You play for free." Next they went to the clubhouse and saw this lavish buffet laid out. "Don't even ask," Peter said. "No charge." Mike looked around and nervously asked Yvonne, "Well, where are the low-fat, low-cholesterol foods and the decaffeinated tea?" "That's the best part," St. Peter replied. "You can eat and drink as much as you like and never get fat or sick. This is heaven." "No gym to work out at?" said Mike. "Not unless you want to." "No testing my sugar or blood pressure or—" "Nope. Never again." Mike glared at Yvonne and said, "You and your damn bran flakes, we could have been here 10 years ago." I don't even know why I chose that story. But back on this side of the Great Divide, it's not so easy. Things aren't so bright and cheery and carefree. And so sometimes in this life, when you can get fat, light comes about as hard as it did with that hand-cranked generator at the Rochester Museum. A little bit here, a little bit there. But so often, as with a lot of your illustrations, we only need a little bit to brighten the hearts of others. So, in a world with plenty of dark corners, we try our best, day by day, not just to live in the light, but to be the warm and loving light for others. And by the grace of God, by the power of God, may each one of us shine on.